welcome Michelle Maxwell, who is actually a friend of mine back home in Nova Scotia, Canada. We are going to talk about Michelle's story today. Hi, Michelle.
Hi,
Welcome to Kevjet, the podcast.
thank you for having me,
Thank you for being my guest. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
as I am too. Yes.
It's not your typical conversation, not one that you would normally broadcast.
No, but it's a good one to have.
It's a very good one to have. And I think it's
Yes.
quite important, isn't it? So um,
Yes.
let's just start off light and breezy. How about that?
Okay. Sounds
uh,
good.
just tell me about Wedgeport and what it was like growing up in that community and tell me about community life.
Wedgeport is amazing for helping others. I've seen this for myself just the past week or so. My nephew had set up a GoFundMe on Facebook and he had asked me if that was okay. And I said, sure, but I don't know that it'll get much attention because I know a lot of people. I've been to different schools and I've had different jobs, and I know quite a few people. I didn't know how people took me, and I didn't know if I made an impact on anybody's life. But within 24 hours, they had raised half of the goal, and within 72 hours, they had surpassed the goal, and he put the goal up. And it just, it wasn't just people from Wedgeport, actually. It was a lot of co-workers and friends of my nephew, of my sisters, of my brother-in-laws. But the I just find that people understand situations and they love to help. But Wedgeport has always been really great for fundraisers and helping. It's a really great community to be in for that. And I've
Definitely.
definitely felt that. Like it's unreal. Like I have no words. It's
You definitely feel the love.
um well, you know what? I have said a few times, I may leave this earth at a young age, but I will leave knowing that I was loved. And that's saying a lot.
That is really beautiful. And it's the love of a community. It's I try and describe it to people here in England as well. It's you can't describe the community,
No.
a small community. It has its negatives, but when you really need people, it they really come together.
Oh my God. The strangers that are willing to donate for the fun. I'm having a fundraiser put on. The donations, whether it's their time or crafts or baking, or it's just, and some of them, like I said, some of them are strangers, and they just understand the situation and they want to help. And it's people I went to school with that I, that I didn't think even noticed me in school,
Sure.
reached out to me. It's great,
Yeah.
actually.
It's
Yeah.
really nice to have that. And the community comes together for so many different reasons, but I think when there's hard times, the community really is kind of like the glue.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
Def
for sure.
I totally get that. So you went into home care. You worked in a nursing home. What
Yeah.
what brought you to that decision? How did you decide that's what you wanted to do?
Well, to be honest, when my grandfather was in the hospital and he was told that he only had a couple months or so, he had pancreatic cancer, I think is where it started, but it had spread. I remember going to visit him, and while I was walking through the halls, I was looking in rooms, and there was people laying there alone. And once I got to his room, I thought he's an elderly person, but he had a life before.
Yeah,
And you can't just ignore them and set them aside and I don't know. And it's always been in me to help people. Like when I was really young, like my mother would, if she had surgeries, I would help her with it. I would clean her wounds and her stitches. And like, I was never afraid of any of that. And it was always in me to help and to help clean houses for my grandmother or it was just always in me. It was always something I knew that I would do. I knew I didn't want to actually be a nurse or a doctor, but I knew I wanted to help in that way.
Right.
Yeah, it was always in me. But really it was seeing those people that were alone and I my worst fear, not just for me, for anybody, is to die alone. And I always made sure while working in nursing homes or in home care, if somebody was dying, I always made sure that I was there if nobody else was. I would take my breaks with them. I would spend as much time as I could. I volunteered to go on days that the family couldn't because it's just, I don't think anybody should be alone when they
Right.
pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, actually. I agree 100%. And I'm the same way when I was working on the wards. I would
Yeah.
have my lunch in their rooms. And
One thing, one thing that we don't have in Nova Scotia, although uh, there is a woman getting one in place, is it a palliative or
a
what is it?
hospice,
A hospice. Yes, we don't have any in Nova Scotia, and that's sad
it's very
because
sad.
yes, I really, if I was more ambitious and that is something that I would really look into doing, but yeah, being alone and it's not,
And also the hospital
it's a feat.
environment, isn't it? Yeah. It's just nice to
No,
have a nice environment for that time
yes,
on the journey.
yes. And I mean, hospitals, as you know, they're they're overworked and understaffed and they don't have the time to put in that you would need,
Yeah.
like the
No,
care you would want. Yeah.
it's true, especially if you don't have a family like you were just talking
Yes,
about. So
exactly.
because the family sort of pick up where the nursing staff don't
Yes,
have the time for, which is unfortunate. I know a hospice would be amazing in
I know.
Yarmouth County, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Hopefully, if
it
someone's
would.
out there listening to this,
Yes,
let's
exactly.
get our heads together. I've always
Yeah.
said if I win the lottery, that's what I'm doing. So
Yes. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
perfect. So let's
Yeah.
backtrack a little bit.
Oh gosh.
We're just a couple years difference in age.
Yeah.
Your grandparents were my neighbors.
Yeah. And yeah, I was there a lot.
Yep. So that's how we know each other. And again, it's the small community, so everybody knows everybody. And but I think I can fairly say this that we both had quite a great childhood growing up in that area. So
Yes. Yes, for
and
sure.
your aunt and uncle lived next door as well, and your cousins,
Yeah.
and so it
Yeah.
was kind of like we were sort of all involved growing up.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of fun. It
And
was
then
a lot
life
of fun.
happens, and we all kind of
Yeah.
go
And you drift
strange.
apart. Yeah, you go your separate ways and
So then let's continue moving on to how did you meet Bob?
how did I meet Bob? Well, I'll tell you, it's love when you meet someone wearing an apron and rubber boots. I met him at the fish plant. Yeah, probably about 22 years ago, I guess. Yeah.
Wow, that is
Yes.
love.
Yes. Reeking of scallops. Yeah.
And although you met probably 20 years ago, you've only sort of recently just got married.
Yes, it'll be 4 years, March 6th.
Okay. And so what
Yes.
made you decide, oh, I think we should get married after all this time?
Well, um, I guess I had always wanted to be married. He had been married and divorced, so it wasn't something he really wanted, but I just said, I don't want to be 80 years old, still calling him my boyfriend. I just, so one day I said, I mean, give me a good reason why we shouldn't. And he said, well, I guess there isn't any. I said, well, then we should. He said, okay. So we did. That's pretty much how it happened.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And you don't have children together, but you have a fur baby, don't you?
We do have a fur baby. Yes. We've had him, he'll be 10 in October, but we've only had him for 2 years. We adopted him from a lady that couldn't take care of him anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got two fur babies, so I know what it's like to have them.
Yes. Oh, they're adorable. Oh my God. They are cute.
They're a lot of
They
work.
look, I was gonna say they look what's the word? I don't know, like they're in
Spoiled.
control. Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a
Yeah,
handful.
spoiled. Of course they're spoiled. I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, of course, that's why we have them.
Yes. Yes.
Let's talk about your family.
Okay.
Because I know you're sort of the instigator for organizing parties, and earlier before we were recording, you were like, I love a potluck.
Yeah,
Uh,
I do. I do.
so let's just talk about
Yeah.
that. Tell me about your family and all the wonderful things that come along with it.
Well, when my grandmother was living, everything happened at her house. Every anniversary, birthday, Christmas, anything, any holiday, anything going on, we had a gathering there. In the summer, we always had a huge family barbecue. But once she passed, I guess I took over. And I just love having the family together. And like I said, a potluck, or like at Christmas, we have the traditional Rappie Pie. And I love it. And we don't do it nearly enough, but life gets in the way.
It
And,
does.
and then people grow up and have kids, they have jobs, and it's hard to get together. So I made sure this year, I've talked to everybody and they already had plans to do it, that Christmas, everybody's coming at my house this year. And it may be my last one, it may not be, I don't know, but I'm gonna have a traditional all of the family Christmas this year, and I can't wait.
Oh, that's who's doing the Roppy pie?
It's usually Uncle Richard, and
Okay.
he makes the best Rappie pie.
Can you just
Yeah.
explain briefly what a Roppy pie is? Because I know anyone who's listening
Oh,
over
yeah.
here.
It's an Acadian dish, potato that is what's it in
Grated?
English? Grated. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's grated potato, an onion with chicken, and you have to boil water and mix it, and you put it in the oven and put lots of butter on it, and
It's
it's really
delicious.
good. It's really good. A lot of people that aren't used to it don't like it because of the consistency, but but the taste is the flavor is really good.
It's
Really
amazing.
good.
I make it here and I cheat. I use a food processor for the potatoes.
Well, we cheat even more and we buy the blocks of already grated potato.
So you're lucky.
It's
I
so,
can't do that. Yeah.
yes, yeah. It's so much easier. But to be honest with you, I have never once made a Robbie pie.
Really?
I've never had to,
That's true. Uncle Richard
right?
has always been there.
Uncle Richard or my parents or my brother-in-law makes good Roppie pie. Yeah, like I've never had to. So I can quilt. I make quilts. I'm an old granny that quilts, but not Roppie pie.
Wow.
I like to eat it.
Yeah, exactly. So do I.
Yes.
Although I
Yeah,
have to make it over here. There's no one else to make
right.
it for me. So,
Does
um,
does anybody like it there that you've
yeah. So, my friends will try it, but when they look at it, they think, "Oh my God."
exactly. Yeah. Now,
And
what is the consistency of yours? Because every community has a different consistency.
that's right. So I like to be able to eat it with a fork and not a spoon.
Right.
So a little bit
Right.
firmer. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
like in between, but I'll tell you, the best flavored ones that I've ever had were a little bit soupier than
I
norm.
agree.
But my grandmother on my father's side, which lives in a community not far in Melbourne, um, you could cut it and eat it like a piece of cake.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like that's too firm for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there
I
you
would
have to
need a
find the
lot of butter to soften it up.
I
Yeah.
still need a lot of butter no matter what the
Oh my
consistency.
God, it's swimming in butter.
And
I
and
love the butter.
do you put molasses on yours?
No way. That is ruining it. I have tried it just to say, because I can't say I don't like it if I don't try it, but no. Um, my brother-in-law loves ketchup on it, which is kind of like a potato pancake vibe, if you
Yeah.
put ketchup and butter. So that's not too bad, but no, just butter. Salt,
So
pepper, and butter.
so Nick, when I make it, because obviously when I make it, it's a massive amount and we have to eat it for days and days, but I tend to
It
freeze it. But
freezes good though.
it does, but
Yeah.
if we're going to have it for dinner, he has gravy with it, which kind of makes sense because it's kind of like
It's
gravy on
potato.
potato, but it's not
Yeah.
something I would do because it's just
No,
not the Acadian way.
no, no, but I mean, yeah, I get it. I mean, it sounds strange at first, but yeah, gravy and potato and chicken, sure. But no, butter, salt, pepper, and butter.
I agree. And the best is to fry it up the next day.
The next
Oh,
day,
love it.
yes, I agree. Yes,
Love it.
yes.
Love that.
But Christmas is a big thing for me. I've I go like usually I probably won't this year because I don't have the energy, but like decorate, well, I have I usually have at least four trees, big trees, and then a handful of smaller trees in my house.
You really do it.
I really go all out. Yeah, I do. I love it.
That's nice. I really love that as well. I kind of go all out as well. I definitely love that's probably one of my favorite things about Christmas is decorating, just preparing for it.
Yes. Yes, the lights and the decoration. Oh, yes, for sure. I do remember one memory at Christmas. One year we went caroling, my family. We started like at grandma's, at
Yeah.
my grandmother's, and we went, I think we walked all around to my house, to mum's, and that was really fun. I remember that. And some people would have like candy canes for us and hot chocolate, and we only did it the one year, but that was a good, like, I remember that. That was a really nice memory.
That is really nice. Uh,
Yes, I'm shy. Like I'm surprising myself that I'm doing this because I'm very shy.
I
Even
do
though I'm babbling on, and that's probably why I'm babbling on, because
you're not
I'm
babbling on
scared
at
to
all.
say the wrong thing, I guess.
No, there is no wrong thing. But it's funny you say you're shy because from someone who knows you, I always think of you as like having such a bubbly personality
People
and
say that. Maybe I try to overdo it because of the shine. I don't know. But you're not the first one that said that. And I never would have described myself as a bubbly person. But you're not the first one that's told me that.
yeah,
That's nice. Thank you.
yeah, because you come across as you're very approachable and you're very chatty and you're always happy and that's
I try to be.
yeah and
I don't want I make it very conscious to not make people around me feel uneasy or uncomfortable, especially in uncomfortable situations. I'm very I always try, laughter is my thing. I try to joke my way out of everything, like whether it's being scared or being angry or being whatever. That's just how I cope with everything.
but do you have that outlet? And I'm sure you do. When you're not in that situation, do you have that person that you can say, "Oh my gosh, I'm scared."
My husband, I'll usually, and I have a best friend that, although um she's having a very, very hard time with my situation. So I try not to put too much on her. So my husband, he's the one that if I'm scared about something, which along the way, not only a couple times I've been scared, like I take one day at a time and I don't try to think about the end. And I mean, I've had the conversations. I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen to all of us, right?
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, my husband is my rock. Yeah,
Good old Bob from the fish plant.
that's right. That's right.
I love that story.
Yeah.
We're friends on Facebook. We've known each other pretty much our, well, probably our whole life.
Oh, whole life. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously when Facebook came around, we've had each other, we follow each other's lives. We don't necessarily have been in contact, which is kind of a sad thing when you think about it. There's so many people that have been in our lives have come and gone, and you think, oh my gosh, like, why didn't I just say hi, or why didn't I just reach out? So,
Right.
so I'm glad in this situation we've made contact.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and leading up to that, we come to July 28th, when you made a post on Facebook and you say, made it through surgery perfectly, now pain free. I'll have more strength to kick cancer's ass.
Yeah.
And so tell me what led up to that, because for me that was the first sort of like, oh my gosh, I need to reach out. This is happening in
Right.
Michelle's life. And it,
Right.
so how did we
Well,
get to that point?
that there was actually something totally, it wasn't even the cancer. I mean, the cancer was what was giving me pain, but the surgery was actually my kidneys, or one, both of them weren't working well, but one of them really, really not working well. So I had to have a stent put in from a kidney to the bladder because I wasn't passing urine very well.
Sure.
So, and I kind of jumped the gun on the pain thing because it was only one day that,
Right.
but I thought, well, I'm not going to go post. I don't post everything on Facebook.
I know, and that's why
I
when I
just,
saw that, I thought, okay,
right,
this is serious. Yeah.
right. So I was only pain free for one day at that point. But that's what that was. And there was only a few people, close people, that knew about my cancer at that point. And I thought, well, this is a good way to put it out there. I'm not one to, it's not a secret. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not, so I just thought this is a way to let people know, my friends and people know what's going on in my life.
Sure. So I obviously started paying much more attention when I saw that, because we were all rooting for you to feel better, and you had so many
Right,
get well messages and so many great
right.
vibes coming to you.
Yes.
But then a few weeks later, you have another post that came up on Facebook,
Yeah.
which was August the 9th. And that said, so my cancer diagnosis has gone from bad to worse. Please send me all the positive vibes you can muster. I have the battle ahead of me like no other I've faced, but I'm going to fight it all the way.
Right.
And how does that make you feel to hear somebody read that to you?
It makes it real. um, it it's so different when it's you. Because I don't worry about myself. I worry about my family. I worry about Bob. Uh, sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. Take a minute.
I don't do this often.
Take a minute.
Yeah. It makes it real. But I'm gonna fight.
And that's my question. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's where I'm going with this. Is that how you still feel? Do you feel like this is going to be the fight of your life?
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Actually, I seen a video on TikTok yesterday. I was so happy for her, and I bawled my eyes out. I was laying in the tub and by myself. That's usually where I do my crying, by myself. She was pregnant. She had a 2 year, a toddler, and she was pregnant and got diagnosed with stage 4, I believe, liver cancer. It was full, and she was given 6 months to live. And she had the baby. She had 8 rounds of chemo, and she is cancer free. It
Wow.
worked that good. So that is how I look at it. I try, I mean, in one way, I really don't think that I'm going to be cured of it, but I do believe that chemo is helping and that I am going to have more time than what they gave me.
And how is the chemo going? How does it make you feel?
Well, I'll tell you, I had so much pain before the first one. I had a lot of lower back pain because there was a lot of tumors in my abdomen, and it was causing a lot of pressure, and it was pressing on a lot of nerves, and I was having pain day and night. It was unreal the amount of meds that I took in a day. And within a week and a half after my first treatment, I was, you could pretty much say, pain free.
Wow.
Yeah. The oncologist from the city phoned me after my first treatment to see how I was doing. And you could tell by the tone of his voice and what he was saying that he was very surprised at how well it had worked, that
Wow.
how much pain, how much less pain I was in. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's the whole
So,
point, isn't it? So
oh my
let's
God.
let's just hope and
Yes.
pray that that's what
Yes.
gets you through.
And it's like when I was speaking with my sister, like we said, like even if it doesn't give me more time, it's the quality of time. Like, no pain is a game changer. Like I was literally moaning day and night. I was in a lot of pain. It was really hard on my husband.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So not having the pain is means everything.
And what
Really
sort of
does.
symptoms do you have from the chemo?
Well, this I just had my second round last Monday, and it seems like Saturdays are my weakest days. But this week it wasn't as bad. The only symptoms I had, like I feel the only way I can describe it is yucky.
Yeah,
It's like you can tell there's something in your foreign in your body working it, and you don't feel yourself. Um, but I was very, very weak on my feet, on my legs were like jello on Saturday, and by Sunday afternoon, it's like a switch. I said to my husband, "Now there, I feel better just right now. Like it's oh, and so it's really my body's taking it well, and I'm thankful for that because they explained to me at oncology that um like when doctors give you meds, they normally will start you on a low dose and work their way up to where you need to be. But with chemo, they start you at the highest dose and see what your symptoms are and how your body reacts, and then they'll put it down if they need to. So I'm thankful that the highest dose is my body's tolerating it
yeah,
because, like, obviously, the highest dose will do better,
of
I'm
course.
hoping.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
But I know that even the first treatment, like that the tumors have shrunk. Like I know that because I could physically feel some and
Wow.
they're no longer there bothering
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Wow.
I couldn't sit. I couldn't sit up for a few months. Like I was always laying on my side, or that's why I had, like, any time that I had to go to the doctors or the hospital, I would have to lay down in whoever's back seat that was bringing me. Like
Oh
I
my
couldn't sit
goodness.
up. Yeah. So I can sit up now, which is lovely.
It is lovely.
Yeah,
It's the little
I'm
things,
I'm
isn't it?
quilting again. I'm quilting again.
Oh,
It's
that's
nice.
exciting. Yeah.
Oh my God, it really is. I'm like an old grandma, but that's all right.
You're happy.
I love quilting. Yes.
Just so we can bring people up to speed, do you mind sharing your diagnosis? Because we haven't talked about that.
Okay. They thought I had fibroids and cervical cancer, grade 1 cervical cancer, and that I was going to be able to have a hysterectomy and get rid of all of it. But then I had an MRI and it showed that everything that was in there was actually cancer. So it's in my cervix, it's in my uterus. They think that my bladder is affected. One of my fallopian tubes are affected, and it metastasized because it's one that spreads to my lungs. And the doctor said like that he's not able to operate, that the x-rays lit up, that there's so many in my lungs. So
Sure.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I was given a year to a year and a half, and I'm aiming for 2 and hoping for more.
That is the best attitude.
Yes. Yeah.
And many more Christmases with Rappie pies.
Many more Roppy Pie Christmases. That's right.
Oh, that's
Those are the
nice.
best.
They are
Yeah.
the best. I certainly miss those because it's always better
Yeah.
when someone else makes them and I have to make
Oh
it
my
here.
God.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
How did you, how are you dealing with having this discussion with your family and friends, like your loved ones? Do you find it uncomfortable? Do you find comfort in having the conversations?
Well, the thing that bothers me is upsetting them.
Sure.
I don't feel uncomfortable talking about it. I always make sure that I tell them like what I want, and like that I want to be cremated. And I keep telling them, in the end, if I am like in pain and I'm not aware of what's going on, make sure that I am sedated. Give me all the morphine that they allow you to give me. Like, I do not want to feel pain. And I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that with my residents and clients, and the same with me. So um I don't feel uncomfortable talking with my family. I don't want to upset them, but they have to realize, you know, like I told my husband quite early on that, this can be serious. And before we knew how bad it was, and I said, you have to prepare yourself, like, and then once we found out how serious it was, like, it's, but he's been great.
That's
He's been
good.
great.
I know
Yeah.
before we started the podcast, we actually had a very good conversation actually, and we were talking about so many random things. But one thing that we did discuss, and I don't know, I hope you don't mind me mentioning it, is the celebration of life idea.
Right. Right.
So, do you want to just explain how you explained it to me?
Well, like I said, I don't want to, I don't want a funeral. I don't want to be laying in a coffin with people looking down at me saying how bad I look and how sick I look. And I want them to remember me how I am now and how I was when they knew me. And I'd like to have a get together, a potluck, of course.
Uh-huh.
Um, Maybe a drop in for an afternoon, come when you can, and have a chat with me. And I don't want it to be about crying and all that. But you know, just a chance for them to see me one last time, how they want to remember me.
So it's a
Yeah,
celebration of life while you're still here with us,
right.
which is such
Yes.
a beautiful idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense to me.
It
Yeah,
totally
for
makes
sure.
sense. It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love that. I really love
Yeah.
that. Such a great idea.
I love a potluck. For sure.
So
I'm
exactly.
all about the food.
Do all the things that you love. Do you have a bucket list?
No, I don't. Um, I've never been one that travels. I'm not an adventurous. The only thing I had always said that I'd love to do, but I knew I probably never would, is go across Canada on the train just to see the country like that. They say how beautiful it is. But no, I've never had a bucket list. It's not something. I don't want to skydive or bungee jump or anything like that. No, it doesn't interest me. Spending family time is what means the most to me.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
and like the picture you shared with me with your great nephew,
yeah.
he's the cutest little thing.
Oh my God, he is a sweetie. Yes, yeah, he
I
is.
that's
I actually have two great nephews. One is 6 years old, and this fella's just turned one on August 16th.
oh wow.
Yeah,
So they're very lucky to have you as their auntie, that's for sure.
yeah.
Are you Taunt Michelle?
Tati.
Taunty.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. You're facing this journey. You've been told your diagnosis, and you still keep your positive attitude. What is
Mhm.
keeping you positive?
Well, that's just me. That's just how I am. That's how my father was when he had colon cancer about 17, 18 years ago. There's no point in being negative. It's not going to help. And I do believe in positive attitude and vibes helping. And I can't be talk about doom and gloom all the time. I just it brings me down and I don't like it. It doesn't put me in a good space, and it's like I said, I mean, it sucks to know I have cancer and that's probably what I'm going to die of, but we're all going to go someday, right? And many people around me could go before me.
We
Who
just
knows?
exactly.
I might even get hit by a bus. Like, who knows? We don't know when our day's going to come,
No.
right? So, why spend the rest of my days negative and feeling sorry for myself? It's not going to help anyone around me. And, like I said, I worry more about my family and friends than myself. So, if I'm negative, that's going to hurt them. So, I stay positive so that they stay positive.
And like I said earlier, that's how I think everybody sees you as being such a positive, outgoing person, even though you say that inside you feel a little bit different. But that's how people perceive you anyway, which is such a nice thing.
Yes, it is. It's nice to hear that. Like when I hear people say that, it's like, really? That's how you think of me? Like I never thought I've never really thought about how people think of me, but because I'm usually like I'm the type that will, if I'm thinking something, like if you ask me a question, unless it's something that doesn't really matter, I'm not going to spare your feelings and lie about it. Like, if you really want to know the truth, I will tell you the truth. Like, I don't believe in lying. I mean, sugarcoating stuff, I suppose, to spare people's feelings. I don't mean I'm out to hurt people, but yeah, I just never thought people see me as a bubbly but even though consciously I try to be positive. So I guess it makes sense that people would think that because I try to be
Yeah.
and I try to smile and
And that's
there's
your
no point
career
there's
choice
no
as
point
well.
not to. Yeah,
No, and your career
exactly.
choice is to take care and love on people
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's such an important thing. And more people in that line of work need to have that attitude.
Right. Actually, last night my brother and sister-in-law were visiting, and her hairdresser is the daughter of one of my late clients. And she mentioned to my daughter, my sister-in-law, that when her father passed away, I was the only worker who had brought a sympathy card to the family. And it made me feel good that that like they remembered that or that they noticed that or like and that it meant enough to them to mention it, like it's but that's just me. I mean, of course I would, like it's
Yeah, it's just being thoughtful
Yeah,
and show that
right.
you care. If you had any words of advice to somebody in your situation right now who doesn't have the support that you have, what would your words of advice be?
Oh my goodness. Just to stay positive, take it one day at a time, and to find the support. Like there's a lot of stuff. Like I have a friend. I call her my cancer buddy. I've known her. She's I think she's my sister's age, so she's probably around 10 years older than me. So I've known her. She's from Wedgeport, um but now we talk. She also has uterine cancer, and she's had the same treatments, chemo treatments that I've had, and she's now currently in the city for radiation. So there is support out there, and you need it. You need it. I have the best support system. Like there's so many people, co-workers that check in, some on the daily, and I always tell them how much I appreciate them checking in. Family, my brother, he messages me every morning, every night. My sister calls, my nephew, like it's amazing the support that I have. It
It's
really is.
it's so important, isn't it?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Oh, for sure it is.
If you could give advice to your 16-year-old self, what would it be?
Oh, good Lord. 16. Oh, don't take everything so serious, and stay in school, damn it. Stay in school. No, actually, I did quit school when I was young, and I turned out all right, but I think yeah, just don't take everything so serious, and if you want to do something, do it. Don't just think about it and dream about go and do it, because tomorrow might not be here, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
And that's for any of us.
exactly. Right.
What
Yeah.
advice have you received that has made the greatest impact on your life, and who gave it to you?
Oh, good Lord, that's a loaded question.
It is. That's why when I thought, wow, I have to ask this.
You should have gave me a heads up on that one. Not be so serious, I guess, and have fun. But I mean, I that the person that comes to mind is my grandmother, I guess. But she always gave good advice. And my mom, she's been one of my best friends like my whole life. Um, she always gives good advice.
I liked your mom was the Avon lady in our community,
Yes.
and
Yes.
her visits were always very nice because she used to sit and she always used to make time, and the conversations were always really great.
She missed her chats with people when she retired. That's what she missed. Yeah. She loved it. She really did. People would She was like a counselor or a therapist. Like people would tell her stuff, and she kept it all to herself. I would find out like so and so did this or did that or is pregnant or what, and she'd say, "Oh yeah, I knew that like several months ago." And I'd say, "Well, why didn't tell me?" "Well, they told me not to. It wasn't my business to tell." So she kept everything, but they told her a lot. She really enjoyed it.
I
Yeah.
bet. I bet. I always looked forward when she would come and visit. So
Yeah.
and that's what it was. It was a visit every time. She would come in with a new
Yes.
book,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and it was really exciting if she actually had some products to show you. If she had, oh,
Yes.
actually, I have this, and she would show
Yeah.
you, demonstrate something.
Oh, I loved when the orders came in. I'd help her pack them up, and she always had like samples or whatever. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
That's what one of
I
my
I
great memories from
actually
home.
did it for her a couple times when she had surgeries. I had to go deliver for her, and I seen how it would be fun, like once, you got into it. Yeah.
It's been a breeze, hasn't it?
It's been it was a little I was a little nervous at the top of it, but yeah, it's just chatting with Kev.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? Do you have anything you want to bring up?
I don't think. I do know that there's one question you had mentioned that you might ask me that you
It's
haven't
at the
asked yet.
end. No, yeah.
Other than that, no, I think we've covered pretty much everything. My goodness.
I think we have. It's been
Even my 16-year-old self.
exactly. We've gone way
That's
back.
that's a long time ago.
What memories make you the most proud?
One of the best experiences I've had was going in with a friend of mine when she gave birth. That was one of the most awesomest experiences ever, to see a baby being born. Yeah,
It
that
is. I was there for my
oh,
niece, and
oh, is that right?
yeah,
Yes,
Kira and I have the best relationship. I
yes.
don't know if it's because of that, or I don't know if it's a natural thing, but it was just one of the craziest moments.
Oh my God. It was unreal. Like I just, yeah, it was really nice. Yeah. My job in general, no, like coming home and knowing that you've made a difference in someone's day. Um, Sometimes there's one thing, one little thing. It was really little that I never forgot. And I remember when I was working home care years ago, and I had done an overnighter for a gentleman that was passing. And so I was there for the night so that his wife could sleep. And she came in when like I was turning his pillow over. I was flipping it. And she said, she said, I've seen you do that a few times, like when she was up. And she said, nobody's ever done that before. And she said, that's just a little thing, but it's such a big thing because it's something that he can't do, that it's a comfort thing. And she said that it means so much. And it meant so much to me that it meant so much to her. And it was just a little thing. But it's something that I've always done for clients or residents, like that couldn't do it for themselves. Because I mean, if you're bedridden, you can't move, you can't scratch, you can't turn, you can't,
You can't even
and
communicate
it's
that you
just
need that.
it's just the little things, right? And that means a lot to me, and it makes me feel good that I did that for them, you know. But I wasn't looking for recognition for it, but it was nice that she noticed it and that it meant so much to her that I did it for her husband.
It was comfort
Yeah,
for both.
yeah,
Yeah, which is
yeah,
nice. It's lovely.
yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm going to go into the big question.
Yes.
So I think maybe you had some time to think about it.
A little bit. A little bit.
um, how would you like to be remembered?
Well, the first thing is an animal lover. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love animals. I do not want to hear any bad stories, sad stories about animals. I don't want to run over a mole or a mouse. I cry. I love dogs, have a special place in my heart. And as you've probably seen on Facebook, pandas. Um, so that's number one, is that I love, love, love animals. But overall, that I am a family and friend. I love my family, and I do anything for family and friends. And I'm a loyal friend. I don't have a whole group of friends, but I had the ones that I have were very, very close, and I do anything for them. And I have done anything for them over the years. Like I just, uh, um, yeah. So I think that's, and just a positive person, I guess. Yeah. Happy,
I,
bubbly, I guess. That's what I hear.
I
I
was going
never
to
would
say
have
that.
picked myself as bubbly, but hey, I'll take it.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's definitely, I think anyone who's ever met you in their life, no matter, I know people met you in like stages, and people have met you as they were in a dark time themselves because you were
Right.
taking care of them and such. But I think, to be fair, they would still even say Michelle was the happy, bubbly person,
Yeah.
because I can't see anyone thinking anything otherwise.
Yeah. I do remember a few times when I was working in nursing homes that I would go in a residence room and they had family there, and I would talk with them, and like I said, I like to joke. I like to make people laugh. That's just how I try to do. And I know, like, there's been several times that I'm walking out of room and I hear the clients or the residents say, I really like her. She's funny and she's good, or she brings me this, or she like, and it's nice to hear that, like they were telling their people, and it's it's nice to hear,
It
you
is
know?
because it's
Yeah.
difficult work.
Yes.
It takes a lot out of you to give them all
Yes.
that care.
Yeah.
I know that 100%. And so when you get the recognition, it's quite nice. It's never
Yes.
unnoticed, that's for sure.
Because at a job, you always hear about the bad things and the things you didn't do. So it's nice to be acknowledged for the things you did do.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Michelle. This was lovely having the conversation, and
Yes, it was nice.
I hope that I've done you proud, and
Yes.
I send you all the love and good vibes that I can possibly send from across the ocean.
I appreciate that so much.
And we'll
Yes. Thank
definitely
you.
keep in touch and
Yes, for
keep
sure.
updated on this whole journey. And who knows, I could be home and we could be having some Rappie Pie together at some point.
Hey, anytime. Anytime.
We're gonna call Uncle Richard.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Yes. He makes the best Rappie pie. Well, I'll make sure I have lots of butter on hand.
Lovely. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay. Thank you.